What's up, my pungios? Andy with Andy Vlogs. Excited to share with you guys this content. iPhone 14 Pro, iPhone 14 Pro Max. I'm not used to saying that. It takes me a couple of videos, but I have just procured a couple of dummy phones from an anonymous source here that's in the industry. Have made a dummy phone to give us some of the likeness, the length, the width, some of the characteristics of the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max I want to share with you guys. Now, before we jump into this is all speculation, all rumor. Nothing's been confirmed here. Just to let you know, this is something that a lot of folks do, that I wanted to throw my hat in the game because I think it's really interesting to look at some of the early on concepts of the iPhone 14. And you might be surprised, you might be a little disappointed. With that said, let's jump right into it. All right, there they are. We're going to go over both of them here in great detail, and we're just going to kind of pontificate and speculate here on what to expect. There's obviously no innards. We don't know, what the new A chip is. We don't know if all the different features here are confirmed or not. All we have here is a likeness, basically the length, the width, the chassis, the camera module, not even the screen. I mean, this, who knows? We possibly have the I/O and the speakers and whatnot, but nonetheless here, let's go and jump right into it. I'm going to first go over the iPhone 14 Pro here. The biggest presence here is the camera module. From the iPhone 13 Pro, the camera bump was significantly smaller. Now it's like a gigantic plateau. I mean, this thing wobbles, and the fact here that it protrudes so far out from last year to this year is telling of a few things. We potentially have a new sensor. They may add the sensor shift here to the wide angle lens. We do have all of the technology from last year, like the LiDAR, the other sensors, the LED. They all look very similar, but as far as the shape here, it looks like, we're dealing with much more real estate. It's much, much bigger. You can see that presence, that ratio here from the camera module to the rest. It just encroaches on this Apple symbol here much further than I'm used to. Chassis looks almost the same here. Very nice 90-degree rounded edges here. It's very bulky and square. You can set it up here on its front and back, and it can stand up, whereas other phones didn't. You can see the SIM tray, the volume rocker. Obviously, the do not disturb is still there. You even have, with this dummy phone, we do show where some of the antenna lines are here on the sides and on the bottom. You don't have a real sense of the bezel. I know that there was a little bit of a bezel from the iPhone 13 Pro Max and Pro. We do not necessarily have where the camera actually shows up on the forehead. You can see here that the speaker is very, very similar to last year. I don't have any indication that this is Touch ID. It's probably still going to use Face ID. But what does seem kind of interesting here on the bottom is this potentially could be what the rumors are stating, that the input is going to be USB Type-C. Let's go over the 13 Pro Max versus the 14 Pro Max. Before we do so, I am sporting a leather Moment case here. I highly recommend. It's a fine aged patina. I've had this for about 6 months now. It looks really, really good. They make really high quality products. I'll have a link down below in the description if you guys are interested in that. I mean, first impressions here is they're like identical. It looks exactly the same. However, the Pro Max appears to be a tad taller. Just a tad, like a little bit. Like we're talking fractions of an inch. And it also appears to be wider, just by a tad. So it seems like the chassis is going to be a little bit different. They're not just going to cookie cut it and copy it like they did from 12 to 13. And the next thing I notice here is definitely the camera module. As you notice, it's got way more of a presence here, taking up the majority of the top left, whereas on the 13 Pro Max it wasn't as much. You can see that the camera module has kind of this plateau, meaning that it's not flush. The glass is not flush with the chassis, whereas on the 14 Pro Max, it seems like it is flush. Giving you that closer look, the 13 Pro Max, you can see it's a smaller diameter, so it seems like there's going to be an upgrade to the lens module. I'm really excited about that. Hopefully they bring the sensor shift to the ultra wide and the tele. I'm excited about that. LiDAR looks the same. The length and the width of that module is just so much bigger. I mean, it could be 10%, it could be 5%, but that's really exciting. This is why I buy the Pro Max. Looking closer here, as you can see, the all aluminum on the 13 Pro Max does butt up against the chassis, and the chassis seems to be a little bit thicker and raised on the 13 Pro Max, whereas on the 14 Pro Max, it's thinner. Hopefully it's more sturdy and there's no issue. Coming around the corner here, it looks like the SIM tray is placed somewhere else. You still have the do not disturb and the volume rocker in the same position. We've got the antenna lines on the same place. Coming around the bottom here, looks like we've got the bottom speaker grill appears to be the same. IO seems to be the same. Who knows if it's going to be USB Type-C. Same number of dots here for the speaker. Coming around the other side, power button. I think this is the 5G antenna. I don't remember what this is, but it doesn't appear to be here on the 14. Power button seems to be in the same spot. Other antenna lines are there as well. Alrighty, I'm gonna see if the other case fits. It doesn't. It looks like the camera chassis here, the camera module is way bigger. Just by placing it here, it's not gonna fit into the phone. So just to let you know, your 13 Pro Max cases are not gonna fit. That's exciting because that tells us here that we've got new lenses. Potentially we're gonna have higher capacity, higher megapixel, hopefully a lower f-stop, hopefully center shift all over the place. I don't know, I'm really excited about this. Well, Pongos, that's my first look. Bunch of rumors here, not potentially confirmed here, but this is really exciting. Hopefully you guys are interested in this content here. I have some cases here that we're going to be reviewing for these phones. If you like this content, guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Not a sponsored video, just definitely a rumor video to see if what the phone's going to look like in the future, because I'm really excited about a lot of the accessories that are going to come out. Make sure you subscribe because we're going to be putting out tons of content here from the 14 Pro Max. I'm really excited here. Let me know if I should pick up a 14 Pro. With that said, guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. We'll catch you on the next one.